All right, guys, today I present to you my top 10 whiskeys of 2023. I do apologize for my voice being a little raspy today. All in all, it was a great year for bourbon, rye, finished whiskeys. I think there was a lot of whiskeys out there that took people by surprise this year. But before we get into that list, I do have a few honorable mentions I did want to talk about that did not make the list. Some of them I didn't acquire the bottle in time to be part of that top 10. So let's go ahead and get into the honorable mentions first. All right, guys, so one of the honorable mentions was the Barrel Bourbon Foundation. This is a bottle that not a lot of people talked about. I think it definitely snuck under the radar. It had a great viscosity to it and lots of different fruit notes that kind of evolved as it started to open up. Another honorable mention was the Copper and Kings Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey that was finished in apple brandy barrels. I thought this was a fantastic finished whiskey. Again, another very underrated bottle that hit the market. This one, again, offered a lot of caramels, vanillas, some brown sugars, and then having that apple that didn't kind of overpower a lot of those notes came off as a fantastic finished whiskey this year. Another honorable mention was the Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series batch number 11. I thought this is a fantastic release by them. I wasn't able to acquire a bottle in time for making this top 10 list, but either way, it offered a lot of spices, it offered a lot of sweetness, and I thought that just all in all, it was a very well-rounded release here by Bardstown. And my last honorable mention was the Jack Daniel's Twice Barreled Rye. This was a ridiculously delicious bottle here, but this was, again, just deep, dark, rich flavors. Again, that rye still kind of coming forward, but a lot of those kind of like toasted, like marshmallow sweetness notes. This was a delicious rye. I wish I had a bottle of it because it would have made my top 10. So those are the 4 honorable mentions I had for last year, guys. Let's get into top 10. Coming in at number 10 was the Sagamore 6-year Bottled and Bond release. I thought this was a perfect blend of sweet and spice. You were still getting some of that sweet oak from it being, at that 6-year mark. I've always wondered if the 6-year was going to be their sweet spot. Definitely excited to see what's going to happen when the 7-year Bottled and Bond releases this year. Coming in at number 9 was the Bardstown Bourbon Company Origin Series Bottled and Bond. When I first tried this whiskey, it was my least favorite from the Origin series, but as it opened up, it became such a delicate pour. This one offers, again, that fruitiness. It also offers some of that spice. It did come off a little bit hotter when I drank it, but all in all, this is a beautiful Bottled and Bond whiskey here by Bardstown Bourbon Company. Coming in at number 8 was the Little Book Chapter number 7. Yes, it did happen. A Little Book entered my top 10 whiskeys of the year. Never in a million years would I have ever thought that a Little Book would enter my top 10 whiskeys of the year. However, I thought this was a very unique blend. It offered a great mouthfeel with some evolving flavors as this thing continues to kind of open up. Again, the Beam family with a pretty good release here, coming in number 8. Coming in at number 7 is the Barrel Bourbon Batch number 35. This is a fantastic blend. I think that Barrelcraft Spirits is at the top of their game when it comes to blending. I think they've put together some absolute masterpieces. Something from Barrelcraft Spirits has entered my top 10 whiskeys of the year over the last couple years, so you know that they're doing something right. Can't wait to see what Barrelcraft Spirits puts out in 2024. Coming in at number 6 was the Old Carter Bourbon Batch number 14. I think this beautifully double-oaked bourbon, it won my heart this year. I think it offered some deep, rich, complex flavors while still offering some of that sweetness. Again, Mark and Sherry Carter do an amazing job of blending their whiskeys. Can't wait to see what Old Carter puts out next year. All right, guys, coming in at number 5 was the Larceny Batch B523. This one actually took me by surprise, as no Larceny has ever entered my top 10 whiskeys of the year before. This was the only batch I was able to obtain this year, but I feel like this was a fantastic kind of robust and evolving whiskey. I thought it offered a lot on the front of the palate, and then as it entered the back, it really kind of started to evolve. Again, coming off of that wheated profile, did offer a lot of fruitiness as well as some spices. Can't wait to see what these next year Larceny batches look like. Coming in at number 4 was the K.Luke batch number 6. So when I tried these batches individually, I really liked the 4 the best. But when I came to the blind, I tried the 4, 5, and 6 together. The 6 came out on top. It dominated the 5 and the 4. But all of those batches are absolutely delicious, and they're very unique in their own way. The 6 has now opened up to where I enjoy really kind of sipping on this one from time to time. K.Luke batch number 6 coming in at the number 4 spot. Coming in at the 3 spot is the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C923. And no, don't ask me what the laser coat is. I thought this was a remarkable whiskey. I thought this is a fantastic release here by Elijah Craig. Again, when it comes to consistency, you have to bring Elijah Craig into the conversation. I feel like so many times we try to compare all these batches together, but in reality, when it comes to a barrel proof release at this price point, you really just can't beat it. Yes, some of the batches are way better than the others. Sometimes they're just way better than the others. But again, when it comes down to it, that price for a barrel proof bourbon that are this good, again, you really can't beat the value for these Elijah Craig barrel proof batches. But Elijah Craig C9 at 23 coming in that 3 spot. Coming in at the 2 spot was the Found North batch number 7. This is a monster freaking whiskey. I love how this whiskey just attacks the palate for me. This is a absolutely fantastic whiskey. I absolutely love this bottle. I have a backup bottle too. Big shout out over to Nick at Found North. Those guys are doing some absolutely amazing things with their whiskey. This one to me is just like candy in a glass, sitting at a nice high proof point. Fantastic viscosity to it, has an amazing finish. It's really everything you could look for in a whiskey. This batch number 7 hitting in the number 2 spot. My number 1 whiskey of the year. Call me a finished whiskey lover. My number 1 whiskey last year was a finished whiskey, and guess what? This year it is a finished whiskey as well. This is the K.Luke Keenan Reserve. Woo-wee! You talk about an absolutely amazing finished whiskey. This one hit all the spots for me. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Deep, dark, rich plum, raisin, flavors that continue to evolve. It has an amazing finish to it, an amazing mouthfeel to it, just silky smooth, coats the cheeks, the back of the palate, the soft palate there at the top. It is everything that I want in a finished whiskey, coming in at a beautiful price point as well. John and Jennifer doing, again, absolutely amazing things in the industry. I cannot wait to see what they do next year, what they roll out with next year. If there's going to be single barrels, more finished whiskeys, I can't wait. But K.Luke Keenan Reserve coming in the number 1 spot. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. I want to send a big thank you to all the companies, distilleries that I partnered with this year for sending me these bottles and samples here to review on the channel. Can't wait to see what 2024 does for each and every one of you. I want to thank all my supporters out there. I want to thank my patrons out there for sticking alongside me through this journey, guys. I think my top 10 list was, again, they were my top 10 favorite whiskeys that gave me the best experience this year. That's what I based it off of. Last year, my top 10 was a little different. I did it blind, but I feel I wanted to go off of what whiskeys gave me the best experience this year for these top 10. So, guys, if you're looking for more reviews like this, hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You also follow me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. Till next time, guys, stay dusty.